Bowtech 34 Proven 5-month review. Jeff had this really good idea to go back over the bows that I've been using since last year's late season when new stuff came out and just talk about them a little bit and give some feedback on what I ended up using. So we're going to do a first one because this is the first bow I actually built. This is the Bowtech Proven 34 with the small wheel. Now I know I did say I don't like shooting a bow maxed out, but that was what was available and I had to set it at maxed out to get it to work for me. And honestly, it wasn't terrible. Like, I got really used to the draw force curve, but it is aggressive in the back end. And every once in a while, I still have it creep forward on me because it's such a deep pocket. I only had time to run the stock strings from when I originally built it, so I have not actually changed. And I want to say I had to retime this bow once early, like I shot a little bit, retimed it one time, and haven't had to touch it again. Haven't ran it through paper in a little while, so in a minute here, we'll run it through paper and see how it looks. I want to say I reserved or reapplied this at one point because I switched to lighted nocks and I didn't have lighted nocks on it. At one point throughout its usage had slipped a little bit and the launcher came up and it looks like it's starting to do it again. But fortunately on this rest, it's super easy to readjust. You just loosen the set screw, pull it tight, or twist it, the knob, and tighten the set screw back down. Super simple. Like, it got out. Once I realized it was out, I fixed it in about 30 seconds. So not really a difficult thing. All in all, the bow performed really well. It was very fast. It is heavy, but most of what I was doing, I wasn't carrying it that far, so it wasn't really a big deal to me. Used the center mass Bowtech quiver, which I do like a lot. It is light, it is adjustable, attaches to the upper bolt position so you can get things in tighter to the bow. Dual track 10,000ths pin that I've been using forever. Love it very much. My gripe is that they strip out really easily, and this one is already starting to strip out, and I haven't used it a ton. If you move it to the top and pull any kind of a pressure, you might pop it loose to where you see that wheel moving, but it's not moving. Eventually, you'll wear a groove in it to where you can't get it to re-engage. So that's my gripe with them, and I'm going to keep saying it until I do something about it. And they'll probably get mad at me, and that's fine. I've had people get mad at me before. Not really a big deal. Black Gold, you need to change this, please, because I love this sight picture. I can't praise this sight picture enough. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But this needs to go. Please, please, please. So, using my 15-inch podium narrow bar on a quick disconnect on my offset to try to simplify things, especially for a blind or tree stand where you're not shooting a long ways away. This balances your bow out really well with ease without adding a whole bunch of other crap. And if you're getting in and out of a rig or a UTV or that sort of thing, having less bars is a little easier to negotiate. And I was able to put this in rigs like that most of the time without any issue and not have to take off my stabilizer. I used to run 2 bars a lot when I was doing ground blinds and tree stands because it was a little steadier and I liked it a little better, but it was a pain in the ass to navigate from A to B all the time. So I switched more to this sort of system. Open country long distance hunting, I'd still use a V-bar and multiple bars. I really would, but for simplicity tree stand ground blind stuff, this is really hard to beat. So that's all the parts that I put on the bow. So let's check some measurements. We're going to run it through the chronograph and see if I'm still getting the same speed. We do have the arrows that we tested it with to go off of, and we'll recheck the decibel. We'll probably take the quiver off for that because that would add a lot of noise to it, but I think we'll still leave the other parts on and see how that goes and run it through paper and see if it's still tuned after my one adjustment. So, all right, first and foremost, let's check our timing before we run it through paper. Looks pretty good to me. So the timing is good. It's about 1,000 arrows in, so that's pretty darn good. Most of them would change by then, and it is the stock string, so I'm relatively impressed. Let's run it through paper and see how that looks. Perfect. Okay, got a little left right here. What I would assume that's from is I actually switched to lighted nocks and never retuned the bow. I didn't hunt with it that way, but I went to start blinking targets and stuff with this, threw lighted nocks in, and didn't bother retuning it, which doesn't shock me that I have a little bit of a change there. So we're going to readjust this wheeling and get that thing cleaned up. This is the beauty of Bowtech system. It's so simple. You just back that screw out, and I'm going to bring the wheels towards me this way. Because we're seeing a point left tear, and when you have a point left tear, you want to decrease your wheeling, which means bringing your cams to the right. And whatever you do on the top, you do on the bottom equally. Voila. It's that simple. It's literally that simple, folks.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Beautimous. Okay, now for shits and gigs, let's see how fast it is through the chronograph now. Okay, so these are the 350 grain arrows that we would normally test for speed. So they should have been the same arrows we put through this bow originally before we put all the stuff on it. See if this stuff changes anything. 331, 329, so 330 average. Note for the whole class, this bow has a peep sight in it. If I take this peep sight out, you're probably going to lose about 3 feet, or gain 3 feet, which is probably right where this bow was. There you go. 330.1, 331. Yep, for the whole class. This bow is the exact same speed it was when I tested it. Because if I take that peep out, there's at least 2 foot a second. And it shot 333 originally. At 30 inches, and that's where it's set. 330, 330, yep. Same. All right, well, here we go trying to use the decibel meter. When we originally did it, we were not using the meter correctly, so the previous number we got off this probably isn't right. So we're going to hopefully find out now what it really is. So we got 81 when previous we did 82.5, but everything was kind of reading the same there. It'll be interesting to know if any of these things are actually making it louder or quieter, because when we originally did these tests, there were no parts on the bow other than an arrow rest. So, but 81's mid to a little high, but at first ear glance to me, this did seem like it was a little louder than some of the other bows, so that's not exactly shocking. So, and there is no string silencers on there, and this is actually not touching. So that might not be helping. Although I think because this meter is measuring the loudest thing it hears, it's the initial thud, and the reverb after the fact probably isn't measuring at all. So I doubt it changes the actual meter at all. So all in all, for the most part, it seems like everything's right where it was when we started. Like I said, we had one adjustment, and I adjusted the wheel lean a little bit, and that could very well be because I switched arrows and never retuned it. And this serving does fit a little tight on the halo lighted nocks, and I would emphasize to anybody, if you're going to switch to a halo lighted nock, you probably need to reserve your center serving. It's probably not going to fit right, and that is important, and I just changed it on a whim the last time I used the bow. All in all, I'm real pleased with the bow. Bowtech things overall, this bow has been 5 months of usage, and the strings are actually in really good condition. This is the point in which I probably would change them out and put a different set of strings on this bow, and I will probably do that in another video for you on how to install strings and cables on here using Gas System X. Because personally, I think that is the best stuff made, period, hands down. I don't think you're going to find anything better. It is a little more expensive, but it is really good, and we've had really good results over time. Wheel lean changes are not super common, but if you change your knock tension, that's probably something that's going to get into play and have to be retuned. But all in all, there's not really a lot of maintenance. Just change your strings and cables once a year. Probably, depending on use and abuse, if you don't ever shoot your bow, that might not be relevant, but in general, you do. I don't wax my strings because it changes the variant of the bow itself. I'd rather wear the string out and replace the string more often, personally, but there's not really much to do beyond that. So please support your local bow shop. If you're going to buy something online, and if you're going to buy it online, podiumarchery.com for all those archery needs, $99 and up is free shipping, and coupon code MFJJ will save you a little money. Thanks for watching.